host, Tracy Brinkmann, coming at you with another episode of Your Success at Last Tips to Improve Performance. And again, I still haven't anybody give me any suggestions on any new names. So I'm still listening for those new names. We're looking for those new names to come up. And tell me, if you come up with a name, I'll probably just give you a cool little gift just for serving a name up. But I'm still looking for someone to come up with a cool name that resonates. But how's your weekend going? Or how was your weekend? And for those my friends and listeners within the United States and all of my American friends, how was your Memorial Day weekend? Did you pause and thank a soldier, whether that soldier still be alive, family member, friend? Did you reach out to them and say thank you for their service? Or did you just pause to take a moment for what this day was really all about? And as all those armed forces, men and women who have given the sacrifices of their time and some of them their lives to earn you the freedom you get to enjoy today. So really, that's what today is all about. I'm lucky enough to be the proud Army brat of a 23-year veteran. My father was in the service for 23 years, and he retired. We got to travel all over the United States and into Europe. My dad served in a couple of wars. My grandfather also was a military man. I came out of the high school and joined the military myself, so I did a little time over in Europe. I make it sound like a prison sentence, and it wasn't. I served a tour of duty over in the European, over in Europe, serving down in Germany. It was funny as I ended up being stationed probably about 60 miles south, maybe a little further, 6 miles south of where I had just been a few years before. My dad was stationed out there as a teenager. So it was kind of cool going back to old stomping grounds, and of course going at it from a different angle. But I digress. Again, just kind of share a moment, and if you have children, share with them what this day is all about. I was, as a former soldier and of course as an Army brat, was really happy to see the change that the nation had, unfortunately after September 11th, but the change in the nation, the viewpoint the nation had about the armed forces. Shortly after that tragic day, they started saying thank you to soldiers as they saw them in the airport. It was just kind of a neat change. Again, like I said, being the son of a soldier who came back from Nam, where they weren't greeted quite with the same vigor that they are nowadays. So take a moment, thank your soldiers, thank your friends, and if you just see one, shake his hand, shake her hand, let them know you appreciate what they're doing for you. And that goes for my friends around the world. Your armed forces are doing the same thing for you. So, what are we going to talk about this week? Well, we're going to start with our question, our Monday morning question. How do you feel? Let's start there. How do you feel? And then let's finish that question up. Let's follow that question up again with another one. How do you want to feel? You got a big week in front of you. How you feeling? You feeling good coming off your weekend? Man, I had a great weekend. For me, it was 3 days. I'm all relaxed. I'm ready to take on the world. And how do you want to feel? I want to continue to feel excited. I want to continue to feel pumped up. I want to continue to feel like I can take on the world. Or are you somewhere else, and a little further down? Yeah, something happened. I have a friend, actually, my daughter and her boyfriend are traveling down to her boyfriend's family. They had someone pass away over the past few days, so they're not quite feeling so ready to take on the world. So they have a different feeling. But how do they want to feel is another thing. Of course, they're going to try and make the best of a bad situation. Take the opportunity to see family and what have you. So it's all about how you feel and how you want to feel. So as you're going into this new week, how do you feel? Take a moment to think about that. And then how do you want to feel? And just focusing on that for a few moments, and maybe a couple of times over the course of the week, how you getting there, just helps steer your mind places you want to go. And as I'm going to be doing with you every Monday, is I'm going to share with you, just to remind you that it's out there for free. A gratis copy of my ebook that I wrote not too long ago called Write Your Success Story. And it's going to reveal to you quite a few things, things about how you can write your success story. Not just write it, but how you can make it into reality. And it's going to show you It's going to start with explaining to you, obviously, the importance of writing your success story. And there's a few simple things that most people tend to forget about that importance, and it goes through all those important facts for you, even those ones that we all tend to forget. It reminds us why we should review our values before we set a goal, before we write our success story. I mean, this one step alone is going to save you a ton of heartache and quite possibly lots of unnecessary failure. It shares with you the three views you need to look at your story or your life through as you're going through life. There are three views that you need to maintain, and it tells you about those views, kind of explain the purposes of each one, and then kind of gives you a way to keep reminding yourself of those three views. Talks to you about dealing with past failure. Right, we're going to talk a little bit about that later this week. And it goes through a little exercise to ask you the question about, are you sabotaging your own success story? Yeah, you're going to write it. Maybe you've already written it. Maybe you're a proficient goal setter, but are you getting in your own way? And it talks a little bit about that. And then one of the cool things it does is it fires up your creative juices and gives you this great method. And this is worth the price of the book if you were to be to buy it when I'm selling it. It gives you this great method to fire up your creative juices, break through that writer's block so you can start writing your success story now. All right, and it also includes three things that you have to include in every success story. So all these things are wrapped up in this nice one little ebook I'm pitching here for you, and I want to give it to you. I want to hand it to you gratis just for being a listener. But I want to share with you how to get that a little later on. So I want to get into the content. Here we are, a few minutes into it. I babbled on a little bit about Memorial Day, but obviously it's a topic that I'm very passionate about and believe is worthy of the time. But so remind me at the end, just kind of shout out, "Hey Tracy, how do I get it?" before I end today. Anyway, I want to talk to you today about, of course, it's Motivational Monday, right? You can hear the tone in my voice, feeling really good. So on Motivational Monday, I want to give you a couple of tips about motivation. Last year, right? Wow, that wasn't that long ago, Tracy. Last week we talked about some of your give up goals and a couple other little tips. Today I want to talk to you about a motivational sojourn, a little motivational trip, right? A trip through motivation. And it may not be what you think it is. One of the things about motivation is if you start, it's kind of a change the pace kind of thing. Changing the pace of things will motivate you. Changing the scenery can motivate you. I mean, because if you stay in one place too long, you grow roots, and you're not a tree, are you? Right now, you begin to really more seriously though. You kind of take things a little bit more for granted, right? You settle on this dangerous level of comfortable, right? You're comfortable. You're content is probably a more better word, a more better. That's proper. That's proper speaking, wasn't it? That's proper English. Anyway, you're more content with how your life is, and that content can really just suck the motivation right out of you. I mean, something as simple as going downtown to your local big city and going to an art museum, if that's one of the things that motivates you, taking a little canoeing trip along the river, just going for a nice drive. If you ride motorcycles, I like to ride motorcycles. Hopping on your bike and go for a ride. And one of the things I used to like to do is take the winding roads up through Helen down in Georgia when we lived down in Georgia. That one was always awesome. But something as simple as visiting a neighboring state. When we lived down in Georgia, we used to take frequent trips, over to Alabama, up to Tennessee, down to Florida, visiting little different places. I mean, we'd go visit the Knoxville Aquarium. We'd go visit, over into Alabama. We'd go down into Florida. Just pick these different states. We went to Dollywood one weekend. You go to Pigeon Forge and go to the park. Just these different little things that kind of break things up and freshen things up, because there's all these things to see out there, and if you don't go look at them, you're gonna miss the opportunity. And this whole world opens up to you as you start to see other people and how they react and see other things, and they kind of almost sometimes even just remind you how good you have it, or remind you of how much better it could be. You can see people who have things better than you, and that motivates you to go after them. You can see things where you're thinking, wow, I would never treat my kids like that, or I would never do that. And it kind of reminds you that you're not such a bad person after all, and that really motivates you. I give you an example. we moved back out to Ohio here not too long ago, and while I was out here ahead of my family, I decided that one day I wasn't going to sit in the hotel room all weekend long. One Saturday afternoon, or I believe it was a Sunday afternoon, decided to go check out the Columbus Zoo, right, where Jack Hanna is at. So I cruised on down there by myself. And the zoo is an awesome place. It's not expensive. It's a great day. You can burn off a few hours. I love animals. Crank out the camera, take some pictures, and I'm happy to talk to just about anybody I run across. And so, you meet all kinds of people from all walks of life. And so I was walking around, as I was walking up to the gate, through part of the park, I met a father and his son, and his son was very inquisitive, as most young kids are, and he kept asking him questions. Dad, why is the white fox this? And Dad, why is the polar bear that? And Dad, why does the monkey do this? And his dad kept blowing off his questions and not answering them, or just, harumphing him, literally just almost tuning him out. And for me, that's a bozo no-no. I think the inquisitivity. Wow, say that 3 times fast. And I don't mean that. The inquisitivity of a child is just amazing. You want to foster that, because if you lose that as an adult, you get back to that content spot. And so by about the third or fourth question, as I walked past them again, I answered it, and it was about, why the polar bears at the zoo we were looking at weren't as white as his ones he had seen on TV. And I was explaining to him about the translucency of their fur, that they're really not white. They really have kind of clear, so that fur was reflecting the colors and the light of their situation, because there wasn't all that snow, yada, yada, yada. And the dad gave me a dirty look, and I just kind of smiled at him and nodded. And the kid was so happy to hear that. He was like, wow, I didn't know that. He was really curious. And so that motivated me, reminded me of when my kids were growing up and being able to answer questions. And when I couldn't answer them, we went and found them, which taught them 2 things. One was Dad doesn't know everything, even though he likes to think he does. And when he doesn't, he goes out and finds it. This is motivating. But this is a sidebar. I just gave you an extra tip on top of that. So go do something. Get out of the house. Even if it's just walking through an old part of downtown, or walking through the mall and people watching. Go to the zoo. There's lots of walk along the river, right? Lots of free things you can do that will crank up your motivation and fire you up inside. So I wanted to share that motivational sojourn story with you. So go out and see things. See the world. You don't have to go across the world to see the world. You can go across town. You can go 4 blocks away. You can go into another neighborhood a half a mile from you that may have a little park in it. Go to that park, right? See how they live. It may be a little bit different, maybe exactly the same. You may be running across some people that are just like you, and that inspires you. You may run across people that are different than you, and it reminds you of the good things you do have, and that'll inspire you too. All right, so before I leave, like I said, I heard some of you going, hey, Tracy, don't forget about that. How do I get the free Write Your Success Story? It's really easy. Go to the website, yoursuccessatlast.com. Across the top, and it's probably too big. I probably need to make it smaller. It's probably a little, oh my God, Tracy, I get it. You're trying to give this to me. Big. So big across the banner, right below the little animation. It says Your Success at Last. There's a big old free get your copy now. Click on that. It'll take you. Drop in your email, your name and your email. You can just put in your first name if you want to. Give me your email, and bam, there it is. And to really share with you some more, if you share with some other folks on Facebook, on Twitter, give us a like on Facebook, you get points for this, right? And I think it's another 5 points, and I'll give you another free ebook and some more tips and technique sheets just for handing out good content to your friends. I'm sure you've got some folks that you think could use a little motivational oomph, right? Or maybe they just like the stuff too, and you want to share it with them. Share it with them, and I give you some more free stuff. All right, so go to the website, download that now, give it a read. Tell me what you think. Tell me what's missing from it, and I'll add it to it. Because I'm working on freshening that up, come up with a new version of it, a longer version to share with my repeat listeners. And I'm gone way over time. I believe it's all about that Memorial Day, but as we all know, those soldiers are so worth it. Anyway, this week, before I go and share with you some of the things we're going to be chatting about this week, On Tuesday, we're going to talk about the pentitude, right? Those are the 5 tudes of your success. Winning Attitude Wednesday, we're going to talk about dealing with your failure as well as your hourly moods or your daily moods, depending on who you are, right? Some of the guys got daily and hourly moods. Anyway, on Thursday, we're going to talk about the 3 tenets of your success. And then finally, on Goals Friday, we're talking about setting goals, making them challenging and achievable. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for stopping by. Hope you had a great weekend. Go get your copy of Write Your Success Story at yoursuccessatlast.com. Click on it, give me your email. We'll send it right to you. Actually, you'll be able to download it right after you click on get your copy now. This is Tracy signing off. Think successfully and take action. Catch you there.